These are the sound waves created from an acoustic levitator. I wanted to map the sound patterns so I can use them to build a volumetric display. A volumetric display animates objects using nothing but sound, but I have a bit of a problem. I have no way to actually see what the air pressure nodes look like. To make this thing work, I'm going to need X-ray vision for air, because right now, tuning this thing is a bit like trying to thread a needle in the dark wearing boxing gloves. To see invisible air density, I dusted off my old Schlieren optic rig. It uses a parabolic mirror and a knife edge to turn tiny changes in air density into visible changes in brightness. Usually this just gives a flat 2D shadow of the sound field, but the 2D shadow wasn't enough. To engineer this levitator, I needed volumetric data. So I'm going to rotate the sound field, capture that shadow from every angle and use Python to reconstruct the 3D volume. Essentially, I'm building a CT scanner for sound. To do all that, I built this, a C.A.T scanner, Computerized Acoustical Tomography. By combining this rig with a Schlieren optic setup, I can turn invisible changes in air density into visible 2D shadow. Then the C.A.T scanner captures these shadows from every angle to mathematically reconstruct the 3D volume. But I can't start by scanning invisible air. There are just too many unknowns. I need to calibrate the rig on a physical target first. I need to scan a C.A.T with the C.A.T to perform acoustical tomography. It all makes perfect sense in my imagination. With a quick bit of FreeCADing, I created the version 1 C.A.T contraption to get a better feel for the mat. To get the highest possible resolution, I set this stepper driver to 1/32 microsteps. That's 6,400 precise steps per revolution. But then I hit a wall. I didn't have a GT2 timing belt, but I did have a hair tie, and in a moment of pure, unfounded optimism, I said the 5 words that every engineer lives to regret. That's the software will fix it. The results looked a bit like a transporter accident. To get the best visualization, I used a Python Astra toolbox to convert my raw data into DICOM. That's the exact medical standard that doctors use to look at your brain. This unlocked a professional piece of software called 3D Slicer, which is ideal for performing a virtual autopsy on my cat. The first aha moment was when the CT scanning code expects to see through an object. Reflections from the cat's eyes really messed the reconstruction. So I turned the LED on time down to about 10 microseconds to create a flat silhouette, a shadow puss. But to understand why the 3D reconstruction failed, we have to look at the math. On the left side is a turntable, and in the middle is my camera sensor, which acts a bit like a vertical slit. As the object rotates, the sensor loses all its depth information. It only sees the objects moving up and down. But if we map that movement over time to the right, we get this perfect sine wave, and this is called a sinogram. To find the object in 3D, we just have to reverse the flow. The computer reads the sinogram and shoots a ray back through the sensor line. Because the virtual grid is rotating in sync with the data, those rays are baked into space. Where hundreds of the lines intersect, the object is mathematically resurrected. Because the camera captures a full 2D image, the computer just repeats the math for every single horizontal row of pixels, literally stacking the flat slices on top of each other to build a complete 3D volume. But if we look at my first sinogram, the waves were drifting. This is mathematical proof that my hair tie is slipping. I tried to force the code to compensate, but alas, it was too much of a stretch. But then I had a brainwave. Perhaps using a hair tie as a timing belt was not the most robust engineering solution. So version 2 had to be better. I designed a massive Slew bearing, so that's a ring-style bearing with a hollow centre. And this gave me a cable pass-through so the rig could spin without tangling the wires. The problem was that the 3D printed bearing races acted a bit like a rumble strip. If the rotation isn't perfectly smooth, the scan gets these ghostly artifacts. Even with a high resolution 3D print, the bearing was still rough. So rather than wait for another 3D print, I decided to grind it. I loaded the bearings with grease and used a drill to force the steel ball bearings to carve their own path. A few minutes of mechanical violence later and it was buttery smooth. A quick bit of salvage work gave me a proper timing belt. And then the hardware was all locked in. Now that the hardware is smooth, but the conversion script gave me this chewed up alley cat look. I assumed the code would magically find the center of rotation, but it didn't. To the math, the cat was wobbling all over the place. Then I hit on a technique to mirror the rig, to perfectly align it in 2D first. And this was the magic button. Shadow Puss stepped into the light in all its glory. But the excitement was short-lived. I now had a new enemy, and that was scale. To capture 3D sound waves moving in 4D, I need to stack 16 wave images and 16 backgrounds for every single phase. That's nearly 350,000 images per scan. So I stripped out the slow-moving PNG conversions and ran entirely on raw binary to go faster. But by going so fast, the Raspberry Pi started to get confused. See, I used the Pi to generate the timing pulses, but the Pi runs a whole operating system in the background, creating about 4 microseconds of timing jitter. Perfect timing equals a perfect continuous wave, but if you stutter, the wave starts to break. The FPGA board was looking really tempting, but I wasn't ready to give up on the Pi yet. So I wrote a normalization algorithm to compensate for the jitter, and it worked. We were fast and we were aligned, but the standard 8-bit images only give you 256 shades of grey. For subtle air pressure changes, this was just pixelated noise. So I threw out the standard mat and moved to 16-bit bipolar pipeline. I now had 65,000 levels. Suddenly I wasn't seeing noise, I was seeing microgradients. But to scrub the final bit of grain, I needed a digital shovel. The standard algorithm, FBP, takes broken data and blindly smears it across the screen, creating streaks and starbursts. So I switched to SIRT, that's Simultaneous Iterative Reconstruction technique. It acts a bit like digital sandpaper. It guesses the density, checks reality, and then mathematically erases the ghost rays. And once I finished running, after a biblical amount of mucking about, I was finally able to capture clean 4D sound waves. And this is the shape of sound. We aren't just looking at a waveform on an oscilloscope anymore. We're looking at physical discs of pressure launching from the speaker cone. By zooming in the data, we can see the exact geometry of the trap. And these red zones are where the air has been crushed together, and the blue voids are the silence in between. Now, if I was a styrofoam bead, those blue voids would be my cage. Looking at this map, I know exactly where the trap is waiting. And because we're using a medical format in 3D Slicer, I can apply presets meant for MRI. I can look at these sound waves if they're made from bone or muscle or even lungs, which I reckon would be a perfect way to visualize organ music. So we started with a hair tie and a box of cat litter, and we ended up with a machine that lets us fly through sound waves. Now that we have the eyes, we can start to do some really cool stuff. In the next few videos, we're going to use the C.A.T to engineer acoustic lenses, visualize directional audio beams, and finally, we're going to make that levitator fly. All the design files to build the C.A.T scanner and the Python scripts for the DICOM conversion are linked in the description below. But if you want to see how I built the original 2D Schlieren rig that makes all of this possible, I show you exactly how to build a camera that captures sound here. Until next time, thanks for watching.